Hello and welcome to episode 6 of My Cyber Why. Today we've got we're going in a slightly different direction. Normally what we do is we talk to people in cyber who are doing great jobs every day to try and protect us, protect our businesses, our organizations, and our data. And today we're going to be talking with a leadership expert who works with CISOs on their leadership skills and helping them find their passion, and is currently doing a leadership survey, a Big Kahuna leadership survey. So very excited to speak with our guest today, Brian Donovan. Hello, Brian.
Thank you, Diana. It's great to be here. And in our different time zones, me in Melbourne, Australia, and you in the US.
That's right. Yeah, you
Thank
with
you
your
for
wonderful
having me.
flat
It's
wife.
great to be on here.
Thank you so much. So you know that how we work. We're going to go through 4 questions, and the first one is, who are you?
Yes, right. It's a big question, isn't it?
That's true.
Regarding this
Yeah.
topic, I mean, who am I? Firstly, I'm an executive coach, Diana, mostly working in the tech sector. And really, if I explain who I am, I've worked most of my life with people from a technology background. And I just always notice this transition that they make from once being great technical experts solving technical problems, as they become really good at that, often the reward is we're going to make you a leader. And it's that transition that's often got some speed bumps with it. And some people really struggle with that transition from solving technical problems to now in leadership, it's about solving people problems. So over the 40 plus years I've worked in the tech sector, I've worked out some ways that I think people, as they develop in their leadership role, they build their influence. If I
Mm.
boil everything down, that people talk about that transition, what you got to do as a leader, you've really got to influence other people to get results. And I think there are stages of influence that you go through. So I eventually, in the last year or so, Diana, I published a book called Leadership is Changing the Game. And it's about the transition from technical expert to leader. And I've tried to codify a lot of what I've learned in my career of 40 plus years. You'll see all that grey hair there. That's some of the lessons I've learned along the way. And, try and impart that to people I've worked with, and some of the examples then I've tried to make them practical in the book to help people see how to make that transition from being an expert to leader. And I guess in the cyber field, who am I as somebody who's really interested in the growth of cybersecurity as a business issue. And I think that makes it a much more prominent leadership issue. And no doubt we will come to that some more in our interview. But like you, I really commend these interviews that you're doing with people. I think it's great to feature the people in cybersecurity.
Mm.
And I've got a similar passion. I think it's the people that are going to make the difference. It always has and always will be the people who make the difference.
Yeah.
And how do we support them to be, as great as they can be? We need to protect us. Cyber is such a prominent issue. So similarly to you, I think we need to somehow help the people develop their ability to influence others and essentially change the game, be great leaders.
So what do you do? And when you're talking to a CISO or another, a tech person that's becoming an executive now and has to lead, what is it that you do to help them work through that?
Yeah. Well, one of the first things we do is figure out some result that they want to achieve. So I think people in business are really results oriented, and so setting some kind of a stretch result, let's say in 6 months or 12 months. You can do this whether you have me as your coach or not. But it's the same in elite
It's
sport,
better
isn't
when
it?
you're the coach.
It's much better. I agree, Diana. But it's the same idea in elite sport, isn't it? Like the team, whether it's a football team or soccer or whatever it is, they want to go out there and want to win. There's some objective they've got, then the coach can provide some support for them to achieve their objective. If it's an objective you already know that you can achieve, well, you don't really need a coach for that. You just go ahead and do it. It's the ones that are going to stretch you a bit. And I think in this field, generally what I've found is it's something to do with how you bring other people along, some objective about bringing your stakeholders with you, whether that's the board or whether it's C-suite or maybe it's even your own team, some new direction you want to take, some awareness raising you want to do, some cultural change around cyber. Those are kind of really big challenges that cyber leaders face. So if we can, first of all, set some objective, where do we want to be in 6 months and how will we measure it and will we know when we got there or not? That's when the coaching can be valuable then, because when you're on the hook, I don't know, maybe at a personal level, it's similar. If, let's say you register for you're going to do a half marathon, suddenly you're on the hook. You need to start thinking about, well, what do I need to do to get that result? I'm going to have to, increase my program of fitness. I'm going to have to change my diet. I'm going to have, there's all kinds of things in service of that big objective.
So
Does that make
sort
sense?
of starting with like a goal. This is where I want it. This is what I want to present to the board, or this is maybe some new team that I want to build out to make us more secure. Start with that goal. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Something specific and measurable. So not like a concept, I want to have a better team. No, I want to have like a new vision for the team, have them aligned on it, have people clear about their interdependencies, and, we've delivered results to our clients that are, 20, 50% better than what we did last year.
Yeah, something measurable. Yeah, because
it's really specific. Yeah,
that makes sense. Do you notice working with, now that you started to do more work with CISOs, are you noticing that the cybersecurity techs becoming leaders have any different challenges from other techs? And what's going through my head specifically is that we in cyber tend to be a little bit paranoid by nature. I mean, that's our job. We're defenders, and we're always thinking about how's the bad guy going to get in? What's the criminal trying to, what angle is the criminal trying to play?
Yeah.
Do you see that impacting their our cyber's leadership style at all?
Definitely, yes. I think it's fair to say that, perhaps 90% of people who are in cyber leadership roles have come from a strong technical background. And, maybe without using anybody's name, I could kind of give a story, to maybe illustrate. So, let's say the person's name was Jeff. Has come from really a really good technical background. In fact, probably got into the whole career path because, as a young teenager, he just loved like getting online and playing video games and, technical problems like building computers and building networks, and so it was what he did. So, to study in that area just seemed like a logical thing to do, and a career path in that area took him into cybersecurity, and, just loved that whole field because it's just rich with technical problems. The moment you solve today's technical problem, then there's a new one to solve. And
that's right.
So his career path really grew as somebody who was like really able to deliver and, a great, prodigious doer of tasks.
Right.
And then at a certain point, we said, well, actually, you're really great at what you're doing. Now we're going to have you lead the team. And it's at that point, Diana, that the penny needs to drop. That it's now I got to reinvent my strength. Yeah. And if my strength, in Jeff's case, he's a great problem solver. Standing online in the supermarket checkout, he's trying to solve the problem of how you could do this faster. His wife asks him a question about something she's doing. He solves her problem for her, whether she wanted him to do that or not. So he's got this inherent strength of being a problem solver, but now we need to use it, channel it for a new kind of problem. The new kind of problem is how to get results through other people. Because in leadership, it's a team sport, right? The fact that you are such a good individual problem solver, now, if you keep trying to do that, well, then they're the kind of people that, we've all seen as leaders who are called micromanagers or, pains in the bum.
Yeah. We've all had one in our lives.
Because they're like, oh, give it to me, I'll solve it for you,
Yeah.
And you ask them, well, how's your team going? They go, well, you know, it's really hard to get good people.
Yeah.
Rather, no, you've got a new problem is how do you get people to be really great? How do you bring your stakeholders along? That's your new problem.
Yeah.
You
So,
explain cyber to the board. Sorry, you go.
but I was just going to say, that's really interesting. It's like you're almost saying, and it's a great point. We have to reframe how we approach the problem set
Yeah,
because as cyber people, we are problem solvers. How do I create this very defendable, resilient system? And that's a problem. But when you're a leader, it's how do I bring people along in this path and with this journey and set goals for them that they can achieve. So it's like it's a changing that mindset a little bit by learning new skills.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, mindset's a good way of putting it, Dana, and you've really captured it there. That it's a new kind of problem that you face.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what I've found is that CISO's really given that background. If you can explain to them, look, it's not that we've got to alter your DNA. You know,
Mm.
like a lot of them, I think they look out at leaders that they've had who've been really inspiring and, you know, think, oh, well, I need to be like that leader. And, you know, some picture they have of what a great leader is and think, oh,
Yeah.
I'm never going to be that leader.
Right.
Whereas if you can say, well, actually, no, we don't really need to fundamentally alter your DNA.
Yeah.
That great ability you've got to solve problems just needs to be used. You know, this time it's got to be channeled in a different direction. And really, if you think about it, that the complexity of human beings is the most sophisticated problem that any of us could face.
This is true.
You
Yeah.
know, just when you think you've got it figured out for one person, well, that doesn't work with the next person.
Right.
You know, so it's a very rich problem.